Hello everyone, this is Naresh IAS Academy digital platform for the IAS mains exam. I am conducting question and answer writing session for the GS paper 1, 2, 3 and 4 and optional history. This is the third question on the GS paper 1 and this question was asked by UPSC in 2021 from the modern Indian history. So many students are sending their answer in both Hindi and English medium, and finally we select one answer and typed it so that it shall be clearly displayed on the digital platform. And this answer sent by a student. So first of all we have to understand or analyze the quality of that answer and how many marks and how much weightage of that marks according to the question we have to decide, and finally we will evaluate and we have to analyze that how can we obtain the maximum marks in that answer. The first, as I have discussed in the previous videos, you must know very well the time management. The question this is, and you have to answer of that question in 250 words. 250 words means what? You have to answer within the 10 minutes. Okay, so this is the time management. Generally 100 words answer must be in the 4 minutes, 200 words within the 8 minutes and 250 within the 10 minutes, and maximum marks are the 15s. So definitely, personally I am suggesting you must include at least one answer per day about 200 or 250 words, or then self evaluation. Definitely it will ensure your selection. If you are simply focusing on the coaching classes, preparing notes, learning, definitely this is only one part of your preparation, because only the IAS mains exam is the foundation for clearing the IAS exam. This is the foundation, and along with you must improve your vocal expression, because you have to face the interview and the weightage of the interview marks is also too much. Then you can also contact for the offline classes we are providing for IAS mains exam in both Hindi and English medium, and we cover each general studies question paper within the 20 days, providing 3 to 4 hours classes per day. And if you have the optional history, then you must contact. And first thing you must know, GS paper 1 and GS paper 2 according to the syllabus I have completely discussed on my YouTube channel, the Naresh IAS Academy. Definitely you must visit and you must listen these videos. Definitely you will find your preparation and so many innovative ideas you can acquire from these videos, and definitely it will be a great help or assistance to you. Okay, so now let's start. That is the question: to what extent did the role of moderates prepare a base for the wider freedom movement? Comment. The student have started the answer in this way. The moderates led the Indian National Congress from 1885 to 1905. Dadabhai Naoroji, Firoz Shah Mehta, Gobind Mahadev Ranade and Badruddin Tayyabji played prominent roles in it. Sometimes we can say this is the introduction. And the next para, the moderates presented the demand for political and constitutional reforms before the British government, under which the following topics were raised. First, we have to literally listen the answer of that student, and second we will evaluate. The point 1 is the number of Indians in the provincial council should be increased. Okay. Second is freedom of expression should be given completely to Indians. voting system should be started in India, the rate of land revenue should be reduced, basic reforms should be done in the British Army, public expenditure on the army should be reduced, the rule of law should be established in India. फिर पैराग्राफ चेंज किया है, the moderates adopted the constitutional method to implement their above demands, which included praying to the British government, sending petition and meeting the Governor General directly. And the last part of the answer is they did not accept any kind of political movement nor demand the independence of India. Then the paragraph again changed. The British government reacted negatively to the demand of the moderates, and the extremists in the Congress also criticized his methodology and called his political style politics of mendicancy. The moderates did not succeed in their political ideology. One of the main reasons for this was the lack of direct communication with the people of the country. And finally, he has concluded, although the moderates created a broad base of the national movement by creating political awareness in the Indian public. Okay, so this is the answer of that student. So definitely now, as I hope you have listened the answer and you are seeing directly and what is the quality of that answer. Definitely the answer has below average quality, so it is not a good answer, because as I am saying again, UPSC what is demanding in his question, then the answer is not molding or converting according to the question. So then now we have to evaluate. So again we have to come on the page 1. Okay. So then according to me, the answer only have weightage about the 4 marks out of the 15, and this is not a sufficient score, and on that basis you cannot hope any kinds of selection definitely. And now how to write a good answer and how can we obtain the maximum marks? First, focus on the wordings mentioned in the question. The question is demanding to what extent? So first of all, this is the keyword role of the moderates, and second, the wider freedom movement. Is there any relationship between them or not? The question directly demanding or requiring, you must take a stand here. Either you may absolutely agree with this, role of moderates prepare a wider base for the freedom struggle or national movement, or you may partly agree with this. But in this answer, nothing I have found according to the demand. So definitely it is a poor answer. So then after evaluating, I will return the answer to that candidate and I will also suggest him how to write answer. First of all, you must explain some introduction about the moderates. So then here the candidate have effort to explain something about them, so it may be acceptable for some limit. Moderates were the early nationalists and they were the founder member of Indian National Congress, and they led the Indian National Congress initially in the phase 1 during 1885 to 1905, and most of leaders were Dadabhai Nauroji, Firoz Mehta, Govind Mahadev Ranade, Badruddin Tayyabji, right? So this is the introductory part, more than sufficient. And now in the second paragraph, you have to explain what kind of role the moderates played in the Indian National Congress and what was the position of moderate between the Indian people and the British government. Definitely, when we are going to evaluate the moderates, so we have to evaluate the moderate politics according to the Indian side, Indian peoples, or from the side of the British government. So, the strategy of the moderate leaders or the early nationalists was, they were called the moderates due to their polite or the moderate demand. Simply they demanded constitutional, political, economic reforms. They did not demand self-government, self-rule or independence of the country. So this was a minor demand, a very polite demand. Secondly, they followed a constitutional strategy or constitutional methodology to execute their demand, and they completely rejected any kinds of political agitation, political movement or any kinds of revolt against the British government, and they did not try to expand their social base between the Indian peoples, and there was least or sometimes we can say nothing direct participation of the Indian people in the moderate politics, and the reactionary nature of the British government also became an important factor of failure of the moderates. Okay, so this is the role of the moderates that time and why they were failed. Now we have to explain the second part. Was there any relationship between the role of moderates and the basis of freedom movement? Yes, definitely. We can see a relationship between them, but it was only for some extent, not absolutely or not at a broad scale. So then what basis was prepared by the moderates? It was not only continued by the phase of extremist leader like the Lal Bal Pal politics, or also continued during the Mahatma Gandhi when he led the Indian National Congress of Freedom Struggle, but also there were some additional factors. They enlarged the base of freedom struggle, and due to this the freedom struggle or the national movement became a mass movement. So this kind of styles I have never found in the answer. So you have to clearly mention in the third paragraph the additional factors were more important than the politics of moderates, and these were accountable for the broader base of the freedom struggle. For that we can explain the reactionary laws of the British government like the Rowlatt Act 1919. So definitely it was the landmark in Indian freedom struggle. Before the act, Gandhiji philosophically, psychologically were the staunch supporter of the British government, but after that he became absolutely against the British government, and he started the non-cooperation movement. And through the non-cooperation movement, Gandhiji first tried to communicate with the Indian people or the mass communication, and due to this the freedom struggle became the mass movement and the participation of women also started. So then the role of British government and the new styles, new strategy, new philosophies, new ideas that were infused by the Mahatma Gandhi in the freedom struggle, and some new topics or the points raised by the extremists before the Gandhiji. Lal Bal Pal started the Swadeshi movement, and Swadeshi movement was the first absolute reaction against the British government when they demanded the Swaraj, self-rule or the self-government. Or finally, Gandhiji enlarged the scope of self-rule or self-governance, and finally he demanded the independence of country. So then the British governments, its attitude, different laws or act, the role of the extremists and the new philosophy or ideas of Mahatma Gandhi, the politics of satyagrah, non-violent movement and the participation of the Indian peoples, participation of the Indian women. So these were the additional factors. They enlarge, they prepare a base for wider freedom movement. So if you are going to be absolutely agree with this, so definitely examiner will not provide the higher marks. Then the question from the earlier stage is demanding you have to take a stance over the question. But in this answer, the students, I think, either he could not understand the meaning of the question, or maybe he could not studied in this way. So in this style or in this way, if you are making your answer writing, definitely you can ensure in this answer maximum marks about the 11 or the 12 marks. The 11 or 12 marks are the excellent marks, and most of answers, in the most of answer, if you are getting such kinds of marking, so then your selection may be ensured. Nothing is obstacle before clearing the exam. Okay, so this is the way of answer writing. So firstly, again I am suggesting you literally read the question more than 2 times and try to understand what kind of question is, and the question either is demanding to taking any kinds of stance or not. So first you should prepare a draft, or we can say a rough work, before printing the answer. It will definitely help you, and you may get the correct answer or exact answer of that question from our website Naresh IAS Academy. Okay, so again I am saying you must watch our videos on GS paper 1 and GS paper 2 completely according to syllabus, where I have discussed a conceptual part of the most of topics. Definitely those students are not getting any kinds of help from the coaching classes or the other platform. It will be a revolutionary suggestion for those kinds of students. Okay, thank you.